Hey, welcome to this week's episode of Fish Life Outdoors, where we're bass fishing on Lake Athens, Texas. All right, guys, welcome back. Again, we're at Lake Athens, Texas. I'm actually being guided today. Paul Dub back on the channel again. We are, listen, it's Mega Bass weekend at Fork, so it is super crowded on Lake Fork. We come down to Lake Athens, pretty crowded here, probably because of all the boats on Fork, but we are, listen, it's that time of year. Things are starting to warm up. We got 66-degree water temperature at 10 o'clock in the morning. Bass are making their move shallow. That's what we're focusing on. Shallow, looking for beds, fishing grass, things like that. So, hey, let's see what we can get done. There he is. Oh, I don't need that. Not a bad way to start.
No, not bad at all.
And if I'm not mistaken, we are literally sitting right on top of a Fish Life waypoint. Hey, that's why we put them on here. That's why we fish them. Is it a giant? No. But this would be a great little under for an Athens tournament. Not too bad at all. Oh, there's a bass on a bed right there. I don't see him right now, but if you see him kind of nose on it, just kind of like try to just barely bump it right in front of his face. When you see him grab it, I mean, you try to break his face off. All right, he's back on the bed now. Y'all, that's where we're fishing. There's a little fish on a bed right about there. He's not huge, but it's our first bed fish of the year, so we're going to practice a little bit. Got it. Oh, did you see her?
Yeah, she went out there, it looked like.
Was she opened her mouth? She sucked. She just didn't get the bait in her mouth. Oh, this is fun. Hey, y'all, we're putting in a lot of work for about a 2-pound fish here, but teaching old Paul Dub my little tips and tricks for bed fishing. See if we can't pick one up here, but hey, this is our first bed fish of the year, so who cares if it's a 2-pounder? We're learning, we're having a good time out here. Making memories, that's what it's all about. She got it again. Set the hook. She got it.
Yeah, I had it about 10 times.
She has had it about 10 times. All right, when she grabs it again, try this. Say 1001, like when she grabs it and she, you know, runs off with it, go 1001 as you're dropping your rod tip, give her a little slack and then lean into her, and that'll help that hook penetrate. What them coots just sound like a big fart. Got it. Get that sucker in the boat. Finally, how about it?
Well, it took about 3 days, I think, didn't it? That fish good enough.
Hey.
What's it take to get them to eat that damn thing?
I think this fish grabbed that bait a total of 12 times. I don't know what he waiting on. But we got it. We got it, y'all. Little old bitty guy. little old bitty guy wanted to whack. As y'all have heard me say many times, I ain't never met one I didn't like to catch. Well, this camera's running. That camera, not running. Teenage piece of junk. Off the bed. And I'm pretty sure this is the male, so we're gonna go after the female now. Well, all right, y'all, so that is about as shoddy a camera work as you'll ever see. As you can see, I just caught a bass off of that bed. Let Paul take a chance at the female. I don't think this is the female because there's a bigger fish swimming around that bed. There you go. Another one that I caught, man, I was telling a story while I caught the fish. I saw the bed out there, good clear water here at Athens. Saw the bed way out there, flipped in there to it, and I was talking, telling the story while I was doing it. Caught the fish, thought I was doing you guys some good. Look over and the camera's not running. Amateur hour right here on Fish Life Outdoors. Check it out. Hey, y'all be sure to stay tuned now. A little bit later on in the video, I'm actually gonna sit down and we're gonna talk about the entire day. Every area we fished, what we used, how we fished it, you know, what we were looking for, things like that. So y'all stay tuned for that. Let me see it, throw it here. Another one off camera, y'all. And he had it a while. Don't let him have that one. He's way down in there. All right, guys, let's talk about our day on Athens the other day. And just to give you, I think it was like March 26th, 27th. It was the same Saturday as Megabass was on Fork. So whatever that date was. Weather conditions were, I think it was around 68 to 70 degrees. Not a lot of wind. Thick overcast, as you see through, on the video, which will hurt a little bit bed fishing if you're trying to find beds in deeper water. You know, that sun don't penetrate that water enough to show up those, show the beds in the light spots. Water temps were anywhere from 64.5 to 68.5, depending on where we were on the lake. Water conditions for Lake Athens is crystal clear, grassy. It's beautiful. It's beautiful right now. Which makes bed fishing a lot of fun, you know, when you're in that clear water around grass. So we were finding beds on the edge of the grass line, behind like a floating grass mat. We were, you know, just wherever you want to find beds on Athens right now, you can. Now the goal today, again, we weren't in a tournament or anything. Goal today was to learn, have a good time, and make memories. My pops, old Paul Dub, hadn't done a lot of bed fishing, so I definitely wanted to get him out to Athens because I knew the water was going to be clear enough where he could see them and understand what was going on. We was able to get him on some fish. Now, old Paul Dub, he struggled setting that hook a little bit, but he finally got the hang of it. You got to understand something now. Old Paul Dub grew up on the Gulf of Mexico, did a lot of saltwater and offshore fishing. And if any of you guys have ever been on vacation and taken a trip out front, you know those captains, boy, they will cuss us bass fishermen because they tell you, look, when you feel a bite, just start reeling. Don't set the hook. Well, that don't compute for us. It just don't. When you feel a bite, you're supposed to set the hook, and that's, you know, and that's what we do, and we get scolded. Now, Paul Dub would go out offshore, and he'd wear all of us out because we're setting hooks, missing fish, and he's just reeling them on in, you know what I mean? But anyway, some tips that I wanted to pass along to you when bed fishing. First and foremost, get you a good pair of fishing glasses. Now, this is a terrible example. These aren't my fishing glasses, but I'm using these as a prop to show you my next tip. Is when you know you're going out and you're primarily going to be bed fishing, wear you a good light shirt that has a hood on it. Okay, it's not to stay warm. Okay, here's why. Notice the edge of this hood falls down right along the edge of my glasses. So it knocks off any kind of side glare that I have right there. Also, it kind of knocks my peripheral vision down to where I'm literally focused right here. I'm focused on that bed. I'm focused on that fish and what that fish's habits are. Okay, so wear your hood. Another tip is when I'm bed fishing, I'm just going along. I'm throwing a wacky worm here and there. If I see a bed on the bank, I don't stop, reverse my trolling motor, make a lot of noise, kick up mud. I don't do that. I just keep on going as if I didn't even see that bed. Okay, I'm trying to be a little sneaky on it. I will circle around, get about 30 or 40 feet out from the bed. I'll flip a wacky worm in there. I'll flip a Cinco or a fluke in there. I'll flip a light Texas rig in there. A lot of times I can catch them like that, depending on how aggressive the fish is. If I don't get bit after 4 or 5 casts with each of those, then I'll ease in there and get and position myself on that bed. Now, I'm fortunate enough to have power poles, so I could literally position anywhere I want on that bed. But you can use an anchor. You can shove a stick in the mud and tie up to it. You can use a tree. You can wedge your boat on a floating grass mat. Whatever you have to do to position yourself properly on that bed. Now, another thing I like to do is I like to have the fish facing me because I like to do sneak attacks. I like to come up. I like to bring my bait from behind that fish, okay, and maybe startle it or scare it or tick it off enough for a reaction bite. Okay, I have a lot of success doing that, coming up from behind the fish. I know a lot of guys that will want the fish like this so they can work their bait right in front of their nose. I find I'm more successful if the fish is facing me and my bait's back here and I pop it right in front of the fish. It kind of, fish is like, what's that? And, sucks it in. So when I'm bed fishing, again, I try to get properly positioned first. Second thing I'll do is, here's our bed right here, okay? And you're the fisherman. I will flip well past that bed, okay, the first couple times, and I'll slowly pop my bait. I won't drag it. I try to pop it, make a little noise, little water disbursement, if you will, and I work it all the way up to right here, right to the edge of the bed. That fish knows that bait is there, okay? You're not in his bed yet. You're not in his sanctum or her. That fish is on the edge of the bed, and that fish is thinking right now, don't do it. Don't you do it. So what I like to do then is I'll shake it just for a second. I'll just try to vibrate my line just enough to give that bait just a little bit of movement, and then I won't drag the bait in the bed. I'll hop it just like this. Here's the fish. Boom. I try to hop that bait from here, boom, right next to that fish's gill plate and his eye. Because I've found that it'll startle the fish and the fish will run off and immediately come right back and get nose down on it. That's when you can shake that bait and they'll suck it in. Or when you pop that bait right in front of that fish's eye, it'll turn, suck it in and run off, and that's when you set the hook. So that's how I approach bed fishing. I will start out for the most part with just a regular Texas rig creature bait. Stroker crawl has been real hot lately. I'll also throw a brush hog or even like a crawl tube or something along those lines. Now, again, when I say just a regular Texas rig, I mean a hook, a bait, and a bullet weight on top. Most of the time, I do have one of those rubber bobber stops on top of the weight, just because when I'm trying to flip and fish that bed, I don't want that weight sliding way up and my bait be way back here. So I always put a stopper on top of the weight. If I try that, 10, 12, 15 casts and that fish is wanting it but not really committing, then I'll have 2 of them rigged up. I'll have a regular and then I'll have one with a glass bead on it. Now the way I rig that up is I have my bobber stop, then my weight, then I'll add a glass bead and then another bobber stopper on top of my knot. I've found that glass bead will sometimes, more times than I would want, it'll cut into the edges of that knot, and you'll break off on some hook sets. So I always add a bobber stopper on top of the knot as well. With that glass bead, I'll throw it in there. I'll work it the same way. I'll work it here, then I'll pop it right in front of the fish. If fish gets nose down on that bait, then I'll just try to vibrate my line. Sometimes I will try to get my line as tight as I can without moving the bait and just flip my line. That's going to send a vibration down to that bait, and it's going to wiggle that weight on top of that glass bead and make a little noise. And a lot of times they can't stand it. They just go ahead and suck it in. So Next, I want to say my apologies for the absolute amateur hour shoddy camera work. I was using a camera that was unfamiliar to me. I was using the old Cajun Canon Cody Brunet. I was using his camera because mine crapped out on me. And I thought when you press the record button on these cameras, they're supposed to record. But this one didn't a couple times. I'm sure it was my fault. I just wasn't pressing it hard enough. But I wasn't used to the equipment, so apologies for that. Next video will be better, I guarantee. But hey, I hope these tips on bed fishing and how to approach a bed, how to position on it, how to work the bait through the bed. I do hope that helps you guys out on your next trip to the lake to do some bed fishing. If you guys ever have any questions, hit old Z-Dub up. I'll answer it to the best of my ability, or I will find the answer for you. So, hey, until next time, when you bite that life, get out and live it.